You gonna do it?
Recording.
There's my girl. All right. So with that being said, I want to get into this. So I'm going to go ahead and count back from 5.
Okay.
And while I'm vibing out for a minute and listening to Vivaldi Winter Sonata, because that's all I do is listen to classical music the entire time.
Okay.
I need you to be in that moment with me. And as we're going through this, I need you to remember all of the good and fun memories and nice memories that you had with this person. And so it brings back memories of love. And love is really what connects us. So that's what I need to be there. Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and count back from 5. We're going to vibe for about 60 seconds. And then we're going to start channeling. Okay. All right, cool. So let's get into it. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay. Hang on. Okay. I don't know if that's been 60 seconds or not, but there's a whole lot of stuff going on in my head that we got to talk about. So whoever this is very, very like interested in what you're doing, what's going on, what your decisions are being made, how is this happening, following you around, like all this stuff like that. So usually that means that it's very like one note. So is this like is this like a father or a father?
My father.
Cool. Awesome sauce. Because it's all about being all up in your grits. And so I'm like, okay. Another thing that he's doing, which is interesting in my head, I haven't had anybody this active in a while, is like he just keeps like pacing back and forth, walking back and forth. He keeps like touching his face, bringing it down. Like he's constantly moving, constantly doing something all the time. It's honestly like he just like, and he likes to talk to me like he's part of some sort of authority, or he's like a manager, or like with some part of authority. I don't know what's going on with that. Like, what did he do? Because he's just like trying to delineate everything. What's happening?
So he was he worked for an insurance company, and a couple of years before he passed away, he actually got a position as a manager. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's just what they always. It's like this big. They show me what's happening, how they feel, and they give me all these feelings and stuff. It's like pretty much having a flash of the whole life in like 20 seconds. So I'm having to tell you, like, catch up with that. He's all about, hold on. He said he felt like shit. Why?
Hold on.
Oh, he's talking about that. He's like, oh, it's good days and bad days, you know, blah, 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 blah. He's so talkative. Hang on. He keeps showing me walking around in these puffy shirts. I don't know why. Hold on. Like they're too big for him. Hang on. I mean, they shouldn't be, but you know, hang on.
Yeah.
Are you the only daughter?
I am.
Okay, because he keeps doing this to you, like talking like my father would to me. I was the last one, the baby, and so that's why I'm like, I know that's not. And he just keeps like telling you what to do. I'm like, oh my God, stop. Hang on. He loves you though. Hang on. Sorry, that was my sign for only daughter. I know that sounds weird to you, but to me it makes sense. Hang on. Hang on. He says, I just want her to know that I'm okay. Why would we say that? Hang on. So frustrating at the end. Why is it so frustrating at the end for you, dude? Why are you saying that? Was he hospitalized at the end?
He in and out.
Yeah. Okay. Because he's talking about people staring at me, like they're just staring at you, like, And I'm like, he's like, oh, you need to just, hold on. What does have to do with like the northern East Coast? What's going on with that?
We lived in the
Oh,
East Coast on Massachusetts.
really? Okay.
Mhm.
So, because he has an accent that I'm not like, and I'm like, it's not, I'm like, this is not New York. It's higher up. I'm like, where is this at? Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Why would he say it's eating me alive? What happened with him?
He he had ALS.
I know. Okay. Because I'm sitting there, I'm asking him, like, what type is this? Is it cancer? Is this thing? And he's like, it was eating me alive. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, okay. Hold on. No wonder he says he's fine. No wonder. That's a shit way to go. I can tell you that. Ooh. Hold on. Hold on. Mm. Hold on. He said, I asked him where he's at. He goes, well, it ain't the coast. He's like, but that's too expensive anyways. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Okay. Hang on. Hang on. Did y'all live near the coast?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay. Okay. I don't know. I've never been up there. So I'm like, what is this? Yeah, I've been like as far as New York City and then that's it. So hold on. I was walking around in shorts. Why are you changing outfits on me? Like long leg to the knee shorts. Hang on. Hold on. Wait, he couldn't use his legs?
Not towards the end.
Okay. Sorry, he goes, no, now it like shows me. I'm like, why are you like changing? Why are you in shorts now? He's like, well, now I got my legs back. He's like, it's working fine. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know legs are a thing with this. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. What are you doing? He was talking about how people were prepped and like ready for him to go. Like people knew that it was coming to a close or like coming to an end. And I'm like, well, you know, how did you feel about that? How did you feel about that? And he's like, oh, well, I really took it in stride. And I'm like, okay, cool. And he was like, but I was scared.
Mm.
He said they had him blown out of his mind. Were they giving him a ton of drugs?
Yeah, he was on medications and stuff towards the end.
Okay. Because I'm like, well, what did you think about that? Because they always like to put me in the position of like seeing what's happening or, you know, everything like that. He's like, I was blown out of my mind. I'm like, sir, I know they're not giving you illegal heroin there, but you know what I'm talking about. Wait, has it been more than 3 years since he's passed?
It's just actually the 3-year anniversary in April.
Cool. He's doing such a good job. Good job. Sorry, I asked him. I was like, "How long did you go?" And he shows me 3 and then plus, so it's like right there. Aww. Then, because the only other thing that went along with that, I was asking him, you know, how long, and I was like, he was like, look at her, she's beautiful. Look at it, she's just grown up. Like, do you see her? Do you see her? I'm like, okay, well, since she's grown up, how long has this been? And that's when he shows me that. Hang on. Everybody thinks it's so interesting because I don't feel him as being like this type of like louder guy in life, but he is just so talkative with me and I don't know why. Hang on, let me get more into this. Were you in a serious relationship that you left?
Yes.
Okay. All right. He goes, I said, so what's new? He was like, oh God, good. She left that boyfriend. I was like, oh, okay. Hang on. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I'm just gonna leave that there. We can get into that later. Hang on. Wait, do you still miss him?
My ex-boyfriend?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay. Because he goes, she shouldn't miss him. He's an idiot. And that's why I was like, I don't know if that's true or not, sir. I'm just going with what you're saying right now, okay? Hang on. Oh, wait. Got it. Did you graduate?
I did.
Cool. Okay. And he's like, oh, she's so smart. I'm like, why is that? What is she doing? And he's talking about like you putting the pen to the paper. And I'm like, okay. Hold on. He says you're out there to save the world. Did you get it in like sciences or something like that?
Criminal justice.
Perfect. That's where that. Okay. There you go. He's like out there to save the world. I'm like, this is something intense then. Hang on. Hold on. But what side of it? Hang on. Tell me. You know, that may have been why. Hold on. Wait, are you going to work on more of the legal side of it?
No, not at the moment.
Because he kept showing me cop, cop, cop. And I'm like, she's not going to be a cop. I'm like, no. And so that's why I was like, what side is it on? What side is it on? Hang on. Hold on. He's talking about you being very, did you get into painting?
Not really, no.
He's talking about, oh, she's so creative. She showed this and he's showing me like art. And I'm like, I don't see any art. But like, I'm like, what is that? Hang on. Again, I don't know what you're doing that like you're lifting up and helping your own community and stuff like that. I don't know what's going on with that, but he keeps like hinting that over and over again, or maybe you have plans to do that. I don't know. Hang on. What do you want to do with that? What is that?
Well, I guess I'm like really like a humanitarian. Like I care about like, I'm just big empath. I'm a big empath. So.
Okay. He keeps showing me with you like lifting up other people, like taking them and lifting them up and making them whole. And so I'm like, what is this? And I'm looking for a logical point. Like, is it social work? Are we practicing with a boys and girls club? Like what? I'm throwing out all these things and he's just giving me blanket statement. And so I'm like, what? Hang on. Wait. Him and your mom are divorced?
Mm-mm.
Really?
No.
Because he says, my wife is still there. My wife is still there. But it's almost like they were separate. So I don't know what that means. Hang on. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to go through that. He passed at home?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm asking him what happened. Where is it? That's why he's like showing me a scene. And I'm glad he did. Hang on. He's like, days, Amie, it felt it took. Poor little lungs. Yeah. You kept talking to him. You were there the entire time?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, oh, she kept talking to me. Hang on. No wonder he apologizes for leaving. That's why. One of the first things he did in the very beginning of this, remember I told you he was pacing around. And it's interesting because one of the things first he does is like he like grabbed your hand and like got down and was like, I'm sorry for leaving you. I'm sorry for leaving you. I'm sorry for leaving you. But like he felt really less of a man with this. I know he's very proud, but like at the same time, it's very hard. Hold on. Was he like right? Was he right at 50 when he died?
He was 56.
Okay.
Or 57, somewhere in that range.
Okay. Because I'm like, how old are you? I was like, you're a young man. He was like, yeah. He's like, no less than 50. And I'm like, oh, okay. Hang on. Do you have two brothers?
I don't. I'm an only child.
Who are the other two boys that go along with this? There's two other guys.
I'm trying to think. He had two brothers.
Okay. That's literally, he keeps showing two brothers. So he has two brothers? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there only one living?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Because I'm like, okay, so you had two brothers. Good, we're on that. I was like, so what does that mean? And he's like, oh, only one survived. I was like, oh, okay. Hang on. I'm like, where are you at? He's like, we're all here. We're here. And I'm like, okay, where's that at? Hang on. Oh. He wasn't supposed to go. Oh man, hang on. Who was who? Who was who? Who was that? Wait, his mother was still alive when he passed? Because he's like, oh, no mother should have to bury their son. Just like puts that out there. I was like, oh, hang on. Is she sick right now?
She was. She passed away 10 months after he did.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm asking about the mother, and he's showing me her being interned or like infirmary, like sick in a hospital, like that type of thing. And so I'm like, what happened with her? Ah, so he's explained. Oh, hang on. Give me her first name.
Stella.
Stella got her groove back. I can tell you that. Hang on. Hang on. She's funny. She's much more old school. Hang on. Did y'all hang around more of Mom's parents than his parents?
I saw both of my grandparents throughout my life, but we saw her. Actually, we probably saw her more than my mom's parents.
Okay. Because she keeps coming up. Only reason I ask is because she keeps coming up to you, and it's almost like she partly raises you. That's why I'm like. But then she like pushes it away. So I'm like, maybe you moved. I don't know what this means. Hang on. It's interesting. She's like trying to describe you to me, but it's all in feelings and pictures. And it's almost like you have a really hard head. You get very stubborn, which is good. But then she's showing like she does this whole thing where they like grab your jaw and like put you up. So you're very light. You have this really good heart with everybody else. You're constantly feeling things, which is great. Like you always have more of a kinder soul to anything and anyone, which is wonderful. Hang on. Son came to. So I asked her, I was like, he's talking, but then she's still weak, and it's interesting. I'm like, did he come get you? And he's just like, oh, well, I had things that I was doing, but like he came through. A lot of times, especially when they're still getting used to their environment, it's hard for them to be like the pickup people, you know? Hang on. Hold on. Wait. Are you living at home still?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Because he's like, oh, still taking care of Mom. You're living with Mom right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I'm asking, I'm like, where's she at? What do you think about her new place? All that. And he was like, oh, she's still at home. He's like, taking care of Mom. I'm like, okay, good. Hang on. Are you thinking about moving out of state?
Not out of state, but just getting my own place.
Okay, because he's talking about she's getting ready for the big move. And I'm like, big move for me personally is like, I'm going to Hawaii. But I guess for you, if it's a new thing, that is also a really big move too. Do you have any questions for him right now? He's okay. They're both okay.
I don't have any at the moment, but I'll think.
No, it's okay. Hang on. I always like to ask because I always forget to ask. And then people are like, wait. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Okay. I just always like to channel and see what I get. And that's my favorite part. Hang on. Let me get in with. Hold on. What are you talking about with that? Okay, that means that they're side by side. So either they're both cremated or they're buried near each other. What is that?
They're both cremated.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Because I'm asking them, they just show me them two, but like next to each other, like here. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, I know you're not mom and brother or like mom and son there. I mean, I've seen that before, right? But they're both in the same space. Hang on. His only big regret is he wishes he could have done more. He wishes he could have done more. He wishes he could have. But he's so freaking positive during all this stuff too, though. but then he gets really grumpy. And then it's like with you, like, God, that's like a third. Oh, hang on. Has your mom been really resistant to change and like changing around the house and the room and stuff like that?
Sort of, I guess you could say that.
It's okay. It's almost like he's talking about, I'm like, well, why don't we put this in like a happier scape or a happier area? He's even talking about, was he in the living room or something like that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Sorry, he just gives me pictures of the house. It's almost like looking at a house from above, and he's showing me like this is where all his shit is, like all in here, and like this is where it was, but it's not changing around, and it's like okay, little things here and there, but it still looks and resides around the same. Hang on. He says she has me. I'm her angel. I don't know if you're an actual angel, but I think you're definitely somebody that watches out and makes sure the angels are not nice like you. Hang on. They're wonderful people, but they only come whenever you absolutely need them. Hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they only show up. Hang on. He's talking about you talking to him in the car, talking about you talking to him there. Like all these little, like it's just, he's tiny. He's just making up this map of everything that happens all the time. Hang on. I don't know what that means, sir. Crafting and this something else. Did we do something with his dress shirts?
No, not that I know of.
That's what I'm like. He's showing me like taking them and cutting them up or taking them and transferring them. And for me, that's very confusing. I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because then he also shows me like on wire coat hangers still lined up. So I'm like, what does that mean? Yeah, he is. Hang on. There's something he keeps trying to show me, and I'm not quite getting it. So that's why I'm just sitting here and I'm like, what does this mean? He keeps showing me a couple of things. Like one is something about a car. I don't know what's going on with that, but just keep showing me like you backing out of the driveway. I don't know. That usually for me means something to do with the vehicle or something going on like that, or maybe we have something of that, but I'm not entirely sure on that. Another thing he keeps showing me is, hold on. Did he have this for like 8 years?
It was 17 months.
What was he struggling with? Like, what was going on before that?
He had torn his rotator cuff, so he had surgery for that.
Okay.
And he had signs and symptoms of like ALS that most people kind of brush off because like, oh, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
I think a year prior to when he was diagnosed.
Okay. Because he keeps like creeping into it. Like, I felt like poo. I felt like poo. I felt like poo. Like, it's an issue. It's an issue. And I'm like, what are you suffering from then before this? Because you're feeling like crap before all of this hits.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's fine. He's definitely getting bigger, getting better, getting more intense. He's not a soul that like hangs out in your room. He's not a soul that you will be able to feel him just like, oh, top of the morning to you, I'm getting my coffee, like that thing. He's very mental. I mean, you'd be able to pick him up. You'd be able to feel him, right? Like when he comes in and stuff like that. But he's not somebody that's ever going to give you a creepy or a weird vibe, which is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
So for right now, what I want you to do is I want you, in closing, I want you to take 5 or 10 minutes and I want you to have a good breather. And then I want you to kind of like break down and have a good cry for a second. Okay. Because that's what we need, because we've amped it up and we have to be able to push it down, right? Everything in balance. The next thing is later on tonight, when you get a moment by yourself and you're in this peaceful state, I always recommend lighting a candle for them. That's a really big thing. They love that for some reason, and I like it too. So do that and then give about 5 minutes and give them some energy back. Tell them you love them. Tell them thank you. Tell them you miss them. I mean, do it. You don't have to say it out loud. Do it in your head. I mean, by God, you know. It's almost like I'm talking to somebody that understands this problem, you know, this whole thing. So give him 5 minutes because we took a lot of his and we have to give it back to him.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you have any questions, I'll send you the recording tomorrow. And then if
Okay.
you have any questions for me or anything, just email me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But tell him thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I love you, girl.